Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mega Gamecast. I'm your host, Ryan Shepard, and with me I've got Cy Cuddy. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Ryan. How are you doing tonight, man?
Not too bad. You've been playing this war of mine.
Yes, I am, Ryan. And here's what I'd like to say. In a game, more often than not, you and I have both played war games. You know, the shoot 'em up where you're playing you're a soldier in a battlefield, and your mission is to take out. You have a surviving goal, and anybody that gets into your way, you take them out.
Yep.
But how about this? When has there ever been a game where there was during warfare, and you're actually playing the role not of the soldiers, not of the enemy, but of the people, the regular, ordinary citizens of the wartime?
I can think of one game, Cy.
Huh?
I can think of one game.
And that's the game I'm playing right now. Well, that might be the game I'm playing right now, Ryan, because
Yes,
it is called This War of Mine. To give everyone a background, this is basically a survival video game that I guess takes place during the Bosnian and Sarajevo wars. More specifically, I think it takes place during what was known as the Siege of Sarajevo.
Mm-hmm.
Just a brief history lesson. It'll help me explain the story, Ryan.
Sure.
The war was basically started by the former government of Yugoslavia, which was Serbian dominated, and they fought against other people such as the Croatians and the Bosnians, who are another group of ethnically made people. So essentially, what this war does is that it was based upon ethnic tension, is what it comes down to. But going back to the gameplay, not to disrupt us a little, basically, Ryan, the gameplay is centered around a group of civilian survivors who are held up in a basically a makeshift shelter, a house that was bombarded during warfare, each civilian has a specific set of skills. Some civilians are either, you have the civilian who's the fast runner, you have a civilian who's a good cook who would save resources when it comes to making meals, you have people who are good negotiators because you will encounter other people who wish to trade with you on occasion.
Okay.
And you have people who have skills that you don't know if they could be useful or not, or even the person who's good at scavenging, which I'll get into. What this game succeeds on, Ryan, is showing the horrors of war. It gives the perfect definition that war is hell.
Yeah,
because these people are living in constant fear, because the game, Ryan, is set up in two distinct zones. There's the zone in the daytime where the survivors have to stay in their home because if they leave, they run in the risk of being shot by sniper fire.
Mm-hmm.
So what they do is they basically spend their day. You spend your day trying to improve your house based on what materials you've scavenged from not only that house but other areas in the city of Sarajevo.
Yeah. So this is just to describe what the game looks like. It's like a 2D cross section of a house. Is that correct?
That is correct. That is absolutely correct, Ryan. Yeah. But don't take anything for granted. The game is extraordinarily atmospheric. You actually feel like you're in that game. Even though you just see the house, you go in different sections. You have to when you first start, there are many sections where you need a lockpick or a tool to break open the door or open a chest for supplies. One thing that I wish the game improved upon was interaction between the civilians. You see bubble point talking points, but you rarely ever see interactions between them besides them talking like to themselves with messages and just saying either I'm really hungry or this and that. But what you can do is control their actions, such as cooking food, making repairs to the house. And the thing is, your supplies are always limited. Like in real war, there's a limited amount of food, water, materials to improve your house, and so on.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to make that choice of whether it comes to you need to build a stove so you can cook food and try to get somewhat of a hearty meal. make improvements so you can make weapons or tools, or
Hmm.
even improvements to the house, because you know you got to make a stove, you can make a still so you can create alcohol so that to be used as a trading. No, and actually, here's the thing: the moonshine is actually used as a trading
Oh,
asset
okay. So
for
people
certain
want it, so
people.
you make it, you sell it. All right, I get that. Now, what do you trade for money or do you trade for food?
There is no money. You trade for food or you trade for supplies.
Okay,
And here's the thing, based upon who you're trading with, and they can be few or far between. Some come to your house and some you eventually encounter. Sometimes things are more expensive than others, and you have to give up a lot and be very cautious, and not cautious, but you have to be very selective of what you give up,
sure.
because sometimes they'll say food is you can have this basically for nothing, or one item could be this is going to cost you a lot. And there are a multitude of items you can trade, Ryan. You can trade supplies, you can trade jewelry that you find, bullets, or bullet casings or gunpowder.
Now, do all
Um,
these, with the exception of jewelry, do these things have like, do the bullets have another use? Like, can you use them to defend or attack or something like that?
it depends on the material. Some items are just good for trading. Others like you can actually trade your own food are good for surviving. You can
Sure.
trade medicine and band-aids, or you can even actually trade your own tools.
Oh, okay.
It's it shows that there are a lot of hard choice.
Do you
There's a
think
really
that
hard choices.
so? Is how difficult is the game?
Well,
Like, not emotionally, but like from a pure gameplay perspective, is it a hard game to? Because
it takes a little bit of getting used to, but
yeah,
once you master it, it's easy. But I'll explain the other. But here's where sometimes things can get difficult, specifically during the nighttime, when when there's no real huge risk of sniper fire. You choose at least one of your characters who go. What how it comes is that one of your characters will go out and scavenge for supplies, excuse me, while you
okay,
leave a couple of people out there to either guard or sleep in the house. And
yeah,
I should also make mention that beds are optional, but they are highly recommended to make. In fact, that's one of the first items I made in the house, a bed so people
sure,
could sleep.
yeah. I mean, there must be a psychological aspect, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
And I'll get into that part later. But psychology plays a huge point, Ryan, because during the nighttime, you're in the war-torn city of Sarajevo, and you can explore it, and you need to explore areas for tools, food, or other supplies.
hmm,
Now, here's the thing. Depending on who you choose, each person has a limited number of space that they're allowed to carry back. Like you can only take so you're going to have to choose how much supplies do you need, how much food, medicine,
of course,
whatever. And
encumbrance.
exactly. And not only that, yeah, but not only that, Ryan, the places that you go to can be very dangerous.
Oh, sure,
Some are guarded by soldiers, some are by thugs who are armed. And keep in mind, the game does a good job at showing that these people are not soldiers. They are civilians. They have
yeah.
no military training, and you can make weapons in this game, ranging from knives to axes to even guns. But again, I've only gotten so far as to the point where I made a pistol once, but it didn't even do that much damage because I was against a soldier
Yeah.
who and if you get shot, your health goes down astronomically.
Oh,
Like you
yeah.
can only
Well,
get shot a few times and
sounds
then
like
you're
they're going
dead.
for realism, so it isn't like
And they succeed at that. And not only that, Ryan, you can also have the choice of sneaking in stealthily and stealing from people. And you can even steal even when you get caught. There's this one mission where north of the city where it wasn't affected by war, there's this old house in pretty decent shape that an elderly couple lives.
yeah.
And I mean, not to ruin this point, but every time I go there, they discover me and they're not even, I mean, again, some people, when you go into these houses, fight back. These old people aren't fighting back. They're telling you to leave and get out of their home. And I actually stole from them.
Sigh.
I, but here's the thing, Ryan. What this game does so well is it shows you that it's survival of the fittest. They
Oh,
needed these
sure.
supplies. I needed to get medicine because one of my during the night, my house apparently was broken into and someone was stabbed and
Mm-hmm.
they needed band-aids and medicine. and we needed food badly too.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, it gives them an emotional impact because every time you steal from somebody, the people come back and say, I can't believe I stole from these people. I hope they survived. I mean,
Yeah, it's like you got to
it
do
shows a
it, but
psychological effect. I
you're
mean, it
not.
shows, Ryan, that these people really didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, and this is true in wartime, Ryan. I mean, we live in a country where we're lucky that we haven't experienced anything like this. But when you look at other portions of the world, like I can think of Syria as an example, I mean, you have to realize why they call them refugees. These people lived in terrible conditions with little to no electricity, running water,
Yeah.
limited food. I mean, I mean, wouldn't you do anything to survive? I mean, that's where it comes
Yeah.
down to.
No, I mean it's totally like that's like that's the untold story of war, you know, like you get Saving Private Ryan where you're on the front lines and fighting and everything like that, but then they touch upon it a little bit here and there with civilians, but you don't really get too much of that point of view, especially in video games. Like I can't think of any other video game that goes into that aspect of war and things like that.
Right. And Ryan, I also want to point out, despite the fact that the graphics are, they're two dimensional,
Yeah,
to me, I'm very impressed by how, even though it may not look like the most realistic, they look more like, like artist work, like, utensil drawings or something like that.
yeah,
It's extreme. It's still very atmospheric. I still give high props to the graphics on this with how well they
yeah. Well, it was probably a stylistic choice to go that route. Probably a very deliberate choice on their part to.
it is. I think
Yeah.
they did it, Ryan, to show just how grim
It's
the
almost like,
situation is.
is it? There's color in it. It's not totally black and white, right?
Oh no, I meant to say that there's coloring.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
I'm trying
when I
to.
say
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember some screenshots I saw, and I couldn't remember if there was actually color in it or if it was all just shades of black and white.
Oh no, 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 no. There's hardly any shades of black and white. It's definitely well, I mean, there are a few, but it does have color. It's just very grim, very
Yeah.
gray. And I mean, it's an appropriate choice because this is a very grim game. And I mean, that's one of the things you could have some complaints about. While it is enjoyable, I mean, it's enjoyable to play, but it's also extremely grim. Like
Yeah.
I can't play it not for an emotional impact, but I find myself not being able to play for large periods of time, maybe a couple of hours at a time,
Yeah.
based on what the game is. I mean, yeah, it's a little repetitive too, and it's not a real action game, but
No.
you do get attached to these characters because this whole point of the game is survival.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they were going for. They were going for that.
Right,
They're trying to tell a specific story. Like they're trying to tell these people a story, and I think from what I understand, from what you're saying and what I've heard from other people, they've done a really good job.
No, they definitely did. And I mean, it's just beautifully done, Ryan. I mean, I give the developers props for this. I mean, again, it's a very compelling game. You're in charge of these people. You're in charge of their lives. I mean, and you're really just surviving until the ceasefire comes, where it becomes safer. But
Yeah.
I mean, even then,
Now,
it's a bit.
is that like is there the end of the game? Is there like a certain amount of days you have to try to keep everybody alive or keep as many people alive as you can?
To my understanding, yes, but I haven't reached to that point yet.
Okay.
But
There isn't like some in-game clock or anything like that.
right, I actually had to reset the game a few times. A couple of times, I lost a member that I didn't want to lose
Sure,
because
yeah.
he got shot on a raid.
That's how those
Or
types
it's
of
just,
games
or I
go.
lost all of my people doing that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, there's danger everywhere. I mean, you have to be very because one wrong move and that could be it.
Yeah, so there's actually a expansion coming out for this game.
It just came out this week where you
was it this
actually
week?
show where it actually added children. It's called the war, and it came out for PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah, the little ones.
Yep.
So it looks like
And that's just even more heartbreaking too, because even though there are children in the gameplay version that I'm doing, this time they actually have you actually have children living with you that you're responsible for, and I mean, it's I mean, again, I mean, these are the most innocent and defenseless people they have, and that they're taking care of. And not only that, it puts a huge burden on resources because I mean, these people are only with the limited amount of time are eating. My people are basically eating one meal a day, and I mean, again, that's all they really need. But and for the gameplay, but in real
Yeah.
life, I mean, we eat at least 3 times a day,
Oh yeah.
and I mean, again, it's a drain on. I don't want to say it sounds cruel, but it's also a drain on resources too. Because again, you only have so much food. You have to scavenge at night for food, or you have to trade,
Hmm.
and that means you could be giving up a valuable tool that you could use or that you could want.
Yeah.
But again, I think that's the point of this game to show just the cruelties of war. And
Hmm.
I also applaud the fact that outside the house there's there's a graffiti there's graffiti on a damaged brick wall that says "fuck the war," which is definitely
A
no. I mean,
sentiment.
I would laugh at that too, but
Yeah.
it's definitely the sentiment of what these people are going to. I
Yeah.
mean, they
So
have no choice.
I'm probably gonna pick this game up. Maybe I'll probably grab the bundle now that there's this expansion that came out for it, or DLC or whatever it is. But there's one last question I have about when you start up the game, and is, do you get to choose your house, or do you always start in the same
No,
house?
no, you always start at the same house, Ryan.
Okay.
You always start in the same location, or at least what I saw. I mean, it's the same type of house. There might be a few changes in it, like some doors are maybe unlocked and some may
Okay.
not
But
be,
you
but it's
can't pick up and move
essentially
to a
the
different
same
house.
place. Oh yeah, it is still the same rundown, broken house that suffered a shelling or
No,
something
but you
or
can't choose
bombing.
to like pick everybody up and move to a different house.
Nope, you don't
Okay.
have that is something you don't have that option
Okay.
of.
And is the city always the same?
Um
Or,
Here's the interesting thing, Ryan. When it comes you don't really see the whole city. You see
yeah.
a map, like an overview map, and you get to choose what house to go to,
Yeah.
and then you just see the drawing. Now, the buildings I go to, they're always the same regardless of the gameplay, but there are always a few changes here and there. Like a few houses may have more
Yeah.
soldiers than the next time.
Or
And there are
you were
times in
talking
the
about this old couple. Is that old couple always there? Like if
yes,
I
they are.
they're okay, so they're always in the same spot. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
From my experience, maybe there's an option of waiting a little bit and maybe they go to bed, but I
Sure.
mean,
Oh yeah,
I
I
haven't
just mean
had
like
that.
that old couple is always going to be in that house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. That's cool. Some games go for the like procedurally generated world, and some go for the structured world, and that I like them both ways.
Yeah, definitely. No, definitely, Ryan. I think you might actually like this game. And now again, it's not for action junkies, but for people who do want to get I think actually just a small taste of what these innocents go through during wartime. It's definitely a very interesting game. Each of these characters has a backstory. I mean, you can click on their bio and they give a diary update of what their
Hmm.
day is like.
That's cool.
It's
So you get to
oh
know
no,
them pretty intimately.
you do. You get a sense, and you come to me. You really come to care about these characters, which could actually be somewhat of a downfall, I think, because if one of them dies, you feel not only will
Oh,
the characters in the game feel sad, but you will feel sad as well
yeah. I
because
think
you feel like you actually lose someone.
that's definitely what they're going for with stuff like that. Pull out your
Well, yeah,
heartstrings.
it is. And Ryan, I mean, it really just shows you how fortunate we are. And I hope that no one ever has to
Oh yeah.
experience things like that. And I hope that when people, I hope that this game, for those who play it, I hope it gives them a good understanding of what refugees who immigrate to our country, what they go through. They're
Yeah.
not, they're not people, they're people just like you and me who were victims of an unfortunate situation that they had no control over. And I mean, again, it really makes you want to not only recognize but relate to these people and just realize what horrors they've witnessed and that they've seen.
Hmm.
It
Yeah.
really shows. It can really show. It really can help. I think, in the right mind, it can really help with their compassion for their fellow man.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna pick this up. It seems like one of those games that I'd play in between major games. Like this isn't a game that I'm gonna sit down every night and play. More like, and when I have some free time, I'm always looking for that kind of game. It seems like maybe you could keep replaying it over and over and over again too, without, it would always be a little bit different. Like you'd have different survivors, maybe you'd have a different health setup or approach things differently each time. That sounds pretty cool.
It is. It is. It's a game I highly recommend, Ryan. It's a game that whenever you have free time to chill, I would definitely play it. But but again, it's also a very grim game. It's very and it can be a very emotionally devastating game at times. But it's also a game that you do have. I mean, I'm little guilty of saying this, but you do find entertainment in.
Oh, sure. I mean, why else would you play it if it wasn't entertaining?
I agree.
Even if it's a little melancholy and a little grim, it's not exactly a pick me up. But not every game needs to be that. And it can be you can feel different emotions from a game, and that's completely okay.
Right, and to give your comparison, I mean, we talked about Saving Private Ryan. In regards to war, this is more on the lines of Schindler's List, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's a good one. That shows a little bit more of the civilian side of the war. That's for sure.
Definitely.
All right. Well, that's a resounding thumbs up for Psy. It sounds like on this war of mine.
It does give me I do have a high thumbs up, Ryan. Would I put this on my game of the year list? Not exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do enjoy it, but it's not a game that I would put on the top there. But I do think it deserves special recognition for its ambition and just basically where the developers went through with this.
Sure. Okay. The other game you picked up around the same time was Gone Home. Have you had a chance to look at that yet?
What was that game, Ryan?
Gone Home.
I have not had a chance to look at that yet. I think I've just been I've been too busy playing this war of mine, but I will get that, and I've also been playing NBA 2K16. But I do intend to check that out. I did pay for it, so
yeah, I would check that out. That's a quick game, so I think you can finish that up pretty quickly. So maybe next time you can give us your opinion on that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this segment. You can check us out at megagamecast.tumblr.com. You can submit us questions. You can check out all of the content we've released previously. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm Ryan Shepard _ size real Cy Cuddy. You can check us out on the Gamerholics group. Check out the website, thegamerholics.com. Whatever you want to do. We'll be back next time with...
Now remember, people, to send in your comments, questions, anything towards us, even for the haters out there.
Yeah.
We love to hear from the people, and we definitely want to hear what you've been playing. And any question and anything you want us to cover, please let us know.
Yeah, we had a viewer episode, listener questions a few episodes back, and I think that went pretty well, and we really, really, really want to get more of those because they bring a lot of good discussions to these podcasts.
Absolutely, and if there's a game you'd like us to check out, please shoot us a comment.
Unless it's a fighting game.
Yeah, exactly. Or if it's a puzzle game.
All right.
No, I'm just kidding.
No. Send me puzzle games. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up. I'll see you next time, Cy.
All right, have a good one, everybody. Take it easy.